All right.
Zammy, I think you got to
So I
turn it
got
back
this
around.
face.
I think you got to turn
Or
it
should
back.
I
Yeah,
have?
this is
I have
good.
it side this way.
Yeah. How's it going, man?
I'm doing good. Just trying to get this all figured out because, like I said, I've never used Instagram live streaming.
Yeah. Well, let's introduce you. So we have like 10 people watching right now, and this will be archived for people later. You are
Very
Zammy.
nice.
Good intro. You are a member. Are you on a team? I know you have like a G squared yo-yo.
No, I'm not sponsored by G Squared.
Okay. Yeah. But you've been yo-yoing for a while, and you and I are going to do an interview kind of talking about your history in yo-yoing, but that's going to be something separate. The reason I wanted to do this on Instagram and to kind of like have you on here is I wanted to talk about Mobius Yoyoing, which has been around for 21 years now. Mobius Yoyoing is a style of yo-yoing where you've got the string on like two of your fingers so you can quickly open it up. And the thing that makes Mobius really unique is you're doing stuff inside the finger loop. So you are kind of like completely hands-free if you want to be. And you
Mm-hmm.
are inside the sliding loop or on top of the sliding loop or completely letting go, of everything, kind of like freehand. Is that kind of right?
You got it right. It's essentially 1A
And
plus 5A, and it makes its own unique style.
yeah. And I think of this as a sub-style of single A. It's
Mm.
basically in the middle of a 1A routine. You could be up on stage and you could throw in a Mobius trick, and it's not like you have to be in a separate division or something. Like you could totally just do that trick in a 1A routine. So that's kind of how I think of it. It's just a sub-style of 1A, like washing machine. Washing machine is like an off-string variation that really starts, with regular, 1A kind of machinations. It's been around for 21 years. It's a style that I created and named, and it caught on like wildfire, right, Zammy?
Wildfire, huh? Wildfire is an overstatement.
uh,
No,
it
I
did not
remember
catch
in the
on.
early days, there were people
Mhm.
that were experimenting with it, but it died off real quick, and that's partially because A, we didn't have internet access the best to be able to share videos. All we had was Sector Y and yo-yoing.com Greg's hard drive.
Mhm.
And two, being the fact yo-yo technology was not equipped to handle Mobius. Nice.
Really,
Pretty
the
star.
technology. Yeah. This is a neat
Yes,
little. Yeah, I was going to talk about this one later. But you say the technology has gotten better for Mobius? I mean,
that's
technology's gotten
correct.
better for all yo-yoing, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm. But in particular, Mobius has definitely evolved due to a number of things, but one of them being yo-yo technology.
I notice we have a question here from Blue Michael, and I'm sorry if I'm missing other questions. But Blue Michael's asking if anyone's ever done Mobius in a world yo-yo contest. I think I might have used it in the 2000 World Yo-Yo Contest in Orlando, Florida, in
Yep.
the X division, which was like a whole bunch of divisions thrown together. And so like I did some single A, some freehand, some Mobius,
I
and
think it did
some
some dancing too.
dance. Yeah. So I want
Did
to
the
talk
robot.
about I want to talk a little bit about like one of the reasons Mobius. So Mobius never really caught on, and not in a massive way. But there was two
Yeah.
people who helped really push it really far. One was Alex Beringel from Minnesota, and the other was
Mm-hmm.
Zammy from Wisconsin. And that's why you're here.
Mm-hmm.
Zammy has done more for like promoting Mobius than anyone else has, myself included, to the point where when I do a Mobius trick, people are like, "Oh, you're doing Zammy's thing," and I'm like, "That's fair." Yeah, you got the tattoo.
I
Um,
couldn't help but just throw that in there. It's like, oh, just Easter egg for everyone.
yeah. So you have done a lot to really kind of push the style forward. You put out more videos than I have. You've written up what you call the Mobius Bible, which I was kind of thumbing through
Yes.
today. It's got like a lot of your attempts at making Mobius more technical. And I think in general, when I create something, when I create a style or, you know, kind of like do a trick, I just kind of think people will just figure it out and catch on. And I think you pointed out in an email that we had in 2009 that in order for things to catch on, people have to have a lexicology for it and like a shared language and like, you know, like what is this? What are we talking about? You know, I can't just be like, just do this thing. People need a name and they need stuff. So that's kind of why I wanted to talk to you.
There needs to be a trick pool, battling of the mind, sharing of experiences, thoughts, concerns, the tricks themselves. And with, you know, for example, with 1A, there's so much history behind that that players can instantly look into that and instantly pick it up. There's nothing with Mobius besides a couple of your head, awesome, and as well as stuff that Alex Berengo has done in his freestyles and some of the videos that Save Death had made. Yeah. So there's literally not much of an imprint for people to be able to pick up Mobius because it's not there.
Yeah. So okay. Basics of Mobius. We're going to start with like the things that I kind of already know, and then I'm going to get to things that I've never named, and I want to know if you've named. I want to like share this lexicology and kind of document things. So like one of the first things is, you know, there were sliding freehand tricks from like the 60s. Sliding slipknot tricks where like a normal string would just be opened and, you know, rock the baby, right? Like this has been around for a while. No one really explored it as a style. No one named it. I think they really underestimated it. I think what really makes Mobius unique is this 2-finger position, which allows me to like really quickly get into a mount. Whoops. You know, like open a mount one-handed is what I was trying to show, even though I failed twice. So this, what is this called? You had a name for it.
Okay. Oh, like what you were just doing, trying to do the drop into it?
No, just the 2 fingers in the string. Is there like a name?
Oh, the guideline, the R and L holds.
Yeah.
Yep. So the R and L holds was something that was created in Alex. Mm-hmm. You two co-developed it, and basically what it does is you're using 2 fingers, and you're going to have the slipknot loop either pointed to your right, which is R hold, mm-hmm. or pointed to the left, which is, you can somewhat see, the L hold. And essentially what this does is it helps not only with opening the slipknot loop as fast as possible, your quick release method, yep, there we go, putting the thumb in there and inserting it and opening it, but also it helps when it comes to trick development, as well as the dictation of the pathway of the tricks. What I mean by that is that with Mobius, there's 2 different approaches to the play, and that's because of you either play R hold or you play L hold. There's a good example of this, but I can't say it textually. It has to be something that I have to show in order for people to understand. But the closest example that I can truly is the idea of skateboarding and how there is a backside and a front side. Well, that approach is used exactly in the same way as playing Mobius. Mm-hmm. And certain tricks you can only do in R hold, and certain tricks you can only do in L hold. That is something, the long experience that I have done, that I have played Mobius, that is something that I have experienced and gotten to understand. The other thing, too, with the R and L hold is that once you get to a certain level of play, it helps you to understand where the slipknot is at while you're doing the Mobius tricks. Mm-hmm. So that way you don't have the slipknot loop bind up inside your yo-yo and cause you to have a sack tap or a concussion or a cut or an explosion. Okay, not the explosion, but you never know. So We'll just
So
leave it at that.
I just want to go back to like what you're saying about with the R and L hold. When
Mm-hmm.
people have a yo-yo on their finger,
Mm-hmm.
most folks, the kind of etiquette or kind of normal expectation is that you keep it on your middle finger between your two knuckles, right here. And so that's kind of the
Yeah.
basics of single A. And it doesn't matter when you're doing single A if it is back here or if it is here. And it also doesn't matter which side of the finger the knot is on. For me, the knot, you know, like when I put this together, this knot is on my
Mm-hmm.
right side of my finger. But that doesn't matter when you're doing boingy boing, right? What happened when I was showing tricks to Alex Beringel, you know, teaching him kind of the basics of Mobius, is we had this setup, the two finger setup, but he had his finger just on the knot on the other side. And the
Mm-hmm.
first 5 tricks we shared did not matter. You know, I show him a thing, he does a thing, it totally works. And then we did this one trick where I'm like, you do this, and you should be like this. And he was in a different position, and it just really blew our minds. And it took us a little while to be like, whoa, wait, your knot is on the other side. So like for the instance of purposes of this discussion today, I think we're mostly going to be on the R side because you are an R player, right? An R side player.
Yes. Yeah, I would be considered an R player. I have the R hold on my index in my middle. I was just watching your trick that you had posted earlier.
Yeah,
A very classic Mobius combo. You
classic.
actually did that for me a couple of years ago for my birthday, so thank you. But I noticed when I looked at your hand, because you actually did a zoom up. Here's the wolf, by the way. You
Hmm.
actually did a zoom up. I seen you had the slipknot loop on your middle finger and ring finger,
Oh,
but
do you
you
not do
also
that?
had the slipknot loop pointed to the right.
Hmm.
Yep. And that's one of the things that's like when the R and L hold, you don't technically have to follow it. It is more like a helpful tip, a helpful guide, because what the R and L hold does is it helps you to build up your awareness for where the slip knot is at, as well as for where you dictate your tricks.
So now that we've talked about that kind of basic thing, the way to get into Mobius is like if you're doing it side style, what I do is I throw a trapeze. I've got these two fingers, my middle and ring
Mm-hmm.
finger, and I just open that up. I pull
Yep.
my thumb in, and for me, the basic Mobius trick, at least side style, is this.
Ah,
Uh,
yes.
so like from here, I'm just
Mm-hmm.
opening, and then I'm going to slide the yo-yo onto this string. This is not the side that's on,
Yep.
you know, the knot is here. So that's why I go here. So I turn my hand palm towards me, and I
Mm-hmm.
just catch the yo-yo on. And here you can either be like a heart like this, or you can be a heart like this.
Yep.
Really just kind of depends on what you do. I think
Mm-hmm.
for the kind of basic thing, this heart is kind of what you want to be in. So we've
Yep.
got the
Yep.
slip knot here, we've got this sliding string, and we are right
Mm-hmm.
now, we are totally hands free. We are just kind of like sitting in there. Do you have a name for that mount?
Okay, so the base, there's a couple of different ways that you can get into said mount, but essentially the heart shape, I
Hmm.
just refer to it as heart mount.
Okay, heart mount. And
At the same time, what you're specifically doing, where you're sliding it in, and you have the heart mount, but it has like that twist.
yeah.
Okay, that I never thought of a name for, and if I
Hmm.
did, I cannot remember it. So
And
that there's no name for that type of sliding mount. There's no name
most
for it whatsoever.
most of my tricks take place from that. So
Mm-hmm.
like most of my side style tricks start with trapeze, open, mount. Now I've got
Mm-hmm.
that twist in here. And then I'll do something like I'll pinch and I'll let go. You know, I'll do like a alternate hand
Yes.
suicide. And then I'll do
Horizon.
something like boom and drop, catch, you know, like so like
A bit in a boop.
a lot of my tricks take place right from that mount. So like what do we call we've got this position. Do we need to
Yep.
name that, or do we just call the final mount?
It, in all honesty, if you want to name it, it's not a problem to name it. Does it need to be named? Perhaps,
I don't know.
because it is a useful mount. Because I know exactly what you're talking about, and
Yeah.
that mount leads on to other tricks. But it is a useful mount because you were doing a trick just before where you were doing like a slack type of maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
I've always referred to that specific trick as horizon.
Okay, yeah.
Like
So
sun.
you're talking about this trick?
Yeah, where you pinch and you slack around. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have always referred to that as horizon.
Okay, so let's just, for the purpose of this conversation, let's say that we're not going to name this mount, this mount, but this method, but we have the heart, or we have, let's say, the alt heart. And I kind of feel like the alt heart, like I said, it's worth mentioning because a lot of my tricks happen from there. But I want to kind of go back to just the heart. And I want to also say that mount that I'm doing, that's not the only way to get into it. You could just throw a breakaway and just open the string two-handed like a caveman. Right, like so like this is all, the same exact thing, right? Like I'm just opening, pulling, mounting, and I'm in here, right? And I think a good trick from here, boy, I don't know how easy this is going to be to show, but I think this is kind of a good first trick. Mobius star.
Yeah. There's
today,
so many different variations of picture tricks from that mount. It's insane. If you know John Russell, I have seen him do like 10 to 15 different picture tricks, all from the Mobius base mount. Like, not even kidding. He was pulling tricks left and right, and it was intense. It was mind-melting. It was the kind of thing where it's like he opened Pandora's box right then and there for picture tricks.
Yeah, if you're into picture tricks, dude, it's Mobius is great for picture tricks. So
Mobius is the way to go.
So, okay, so like I'm still trying to kind of stick to the basics. We also have forward mount Mobius, which honestly, okay, so for me, the first trick that I explored in this style was, a forward throw, rock the baby. Very simple, very right? But I think from forward mounts, I think a good thing to do, you do your power throw, you open up, I mount on this back string here, which kind of gives me like the heart, and you can do like barrel rolls. And the fun thing about this is I can actually switch which hand is dominant, and now I'm doing like left-handed barrel rolls.
It's chain reaction in Mobius.
Yeah. So like, because I'm just sliding in a finger loop and I'm not actually attached to the middle finger, you can do stuff that's like alternating. Another example, here we go. Boingy boing. I can just switch and do an alternate hand boingy boing. Just super easy and nail it first try. Bam, alternating boingy boing. So another kind of like basic thing, if you're just wanting to get started, is just power throw, catch, and then just think about like, just think about like what's a like boingy boing, Mach 5, right? Like all those things you can kind of envision. Whatever you can do with a single A power throw, you can kind of do here. And actually, that was one of the difficulties for me when I first started with Mobius, was I was just copying single A, and I was like, I really want to,
Which, mind you, don't get it wrong. There's nothing wrong with doing that, because creativity and the approach of it, completely understandable. That you wanted to try and further Mobius and have it be more creative. Because that's what I did when I first started as well. I was trying to take 1A ideas and put it into Mobius.
Yeah. I think to that extent of like kind of pushing it further, doing things that you can't do. Let's talk about one of your moves. We have quite a few. I'm going to use a moth This is a modded $1 yo-yo by
Oh,
Chris Pyrotechnics.
super fun yo-yo.
Yeah, very light, super noisy. Okay, so
Oh,
I think that one of the things that you kind of did that I've been very tepid to do is this idea of like fully letting go. And
uh,
so like for that, it's just like, it's that mount we were talking about, right? Like, so you can do this and then just drop it.
yep.
So this is kind of like a basic one-handed Mobius mount where I'm just like, literally the string is just right there. And, just trying to do like a little one-handed.
You actually caught that. Bravo. That was amazing.
And you call that a
Everyone
mobicide,
caught
right?
that. You caught that, people.
You call that a mobicide?
Yes. So in terms of the term for the trick type,
Mm-hmm.
I refer to that as a mobicide. Yes.
Yeah. Did I do like the basic mobicide? Is that like kind of the way you do it, or do you do a different method?
That is one of the base forms, yeah. It's just that with that said, the way the loop interacts into the gap, when you throw it forward like that, it will it oftentimes will bind up in the yo-yo, not able to catch it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so what's your solution for
I
that?
have a few different mobicides. In particular, I refer to it as genericide for basically just calling it generic because it's using the full loop.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm swinging it in. Oftentimes, I will swing it from my left hand, letting it go and catching it with my right. That's one of those things with my tricks. I'm often arse backwards, where it's like I throw a right-handed throw, but some of my tricks are going from a left-hand dominance to right.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, I see what you're saying. And that was the thing we talk about when we talk about like the beginning of freehand. We all thought in the beginning of freehand that we would just become very ambidextrous.
Yes.
Like I'm right-handed, and like, oh, but here I could do, and that obviously didn't catch on in terms of like what would the appeal was. But when you do your tricks, you do shift left and right a lot, which is hella hard for me. I don't think I have any. I tried to think of some, and I don't think I have any that like kind of in the course of the trick, not just like me putting my finger here, but in the course of the trick, if you were to stop, the finger loop would actually be on your alternate hand. I don't have anything like that. But your tricks are far more technical than mine, I think, right?
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's just my personality and flavors, just for the sake of complicatedness. But I'm
Well, I
also
mean, to
I'm
that
definitely infused with technical difficulty. And that's just me.
to that point, you do also have like very flowy tricks that you've done. It's not like your stuff is all technical.
Mm-hmm.
You know the mobicides are maybe a cross between technical and flowy. One of my favorite of your tricks is a trick called fly trap, which I do like this. Fly trap is the most amazing.
That's right. Yeah, that's for.
No, Mobius, really? What? Unending is the name of it? I thought that was Fly Trap. What's Fly Trap then? Shoot. Fly Trap is the one that
Okay,
goes like
so
this and
that's it. That's correct. Yeah, fly
okay.
trap is the base terminology for that trick style. And fly traps, what it is it's one part of 5A, where it's
Hmm.
the swinging aspect and the releasing of the string
Right.
off the
Okay.
finger.
So
And then the other part is
so
catching the loop on your finger.
like this is kind of a Fly Trap thing, right? I don't know if this is the basic,
Mm-hmm.
but the idea that I would do sort of a a counterweight release, but I would keep the hoop open and somehow land it. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
when you landed that, I was like, I had explored that for like 6 months and been like, this is a thing that's just total luck to hit. And you were landing it consistently in front. Well, consistently. I mean, you were landing it on purpose in front of me. To that same extent, if I was the one who found suicides, I also would have thought suicides were impossible and total luck. And it was like other people proving me wrong that made me decide to kind of learn it, right? So what you're talking about, a fly trap style move, and there might be a few, but a fly trap style move is basically this gets opened, and the yo-yo isn't in the mount. It's not like that.
No.
The mount is just open, and through practice and skill, you catch
timing.
Timing
and about 99.9% luck, but yes. But no, there does get to be a point where you practice it that you do get to be concise with the timing. Like the one fly trap you were just doing now, the base kind of let go release.
Yeah.
If you hold that slipknot loop open the way you do, it'll stay open in that motion, and you're able to get it back to one of your fingers anyway. But also, it also can depend upon what type of string you use.
Yeah.
What string are you using right now? Hey, there we go.
I am using a woolly nylon from Mazel Tops. It opens and moves super easily, and probably closes very easily too. A thick string would be very coarse. I actually have a thick string. I can kind of show the difference. So like with this one, just gravity could like bring it, closed. But we have a thick string, and even probably the type of knot you put on it. Oh, actually, yeah. I remember I used to use a different knot when I first started doing Mobius. Okay, so this
but yeah, it's like string. Oftentimes for those types of tricks, like the aerial release tricks, no-handed tricks, fly traps, a lot of it can base upon the tension of your string as well as the string type. Not even kidding. You actually had sent me some of that woolly nylon, and I did try it out. Very bouncy, very smooth. Would be great for slacks, great for opening the slipknot loop, but not good for fly trap stuff. But that's okay.
So we talked about fly traps. Just a few more mounts. I think that my understanding of mounts is very simplistic compared to yours. Like when I was watching your videos. One thing I end up in a lot though is from that heart mount. Basically, if you kind of just do a double or nothing and pick a side, this is also something I use a lot, right? I use this a ton. I hop it up and I catch it into there or whatever, right? So like once you've got that heart mount, and I think there I'm in the normal heart mount. Once you've got that, you basically either turn your hand to the right or you turn it to the left, and you're either going to catch like a back double or nothing, or you're going to catch, the forward or nothing, double or nothing on the front. And there's, a lot of good stuff from those too. Like it doesn't look like it from here, but there's interesting things you can do from those. And I don't know if that needs to be I don't know that we need to name every.
I did name that. I called it Moudini.
When you go backwards?
Just because it's paying homage of the Houdini mount, as well as double or nothing. So I called it. A lot of trick names, I just added the word, the M-O-U, and then just went from there.
Right. So like this is Moingy Moing, right?
Yep. Moiny Moiny, Moyen Moyen, one of the two.
I guess to that extent, this could be Mirit Bomb. The Houdini mount, although you called it Moudini mount?
Yeah, Moudini.
Okay. And what are some of the other, so I mean, like we both know that tricks can exist in or on your string loop, right? So I'm basically in a loop right here.
It's like Mobius, it's in the loop, outside, on the loop. So you're basically on the doubled string. That would be considered on the loop. And then the third being a lot of the aerial based tricks and things of that nature.
Yeah, so
because back in the day, a lot of people just refer to Mobius specifically as the yo-yo being inside the loop, but then it evolved past that where you could utilize and do tricks on the loop, like whip tricks, chopsticks, things of that nature on the loop. Great trick, by the way. I have a trick like that where you use that string and you hold it, and then you do a Mach 5 type motion.
Yeah.
And I refer to that as pedal.
Yeah.
There you go, the pedal.
So, actually, you know, because I am trying to talk about some of the basics for people watching who might want to explore this. You know, the sky is wide open, right? And so I'm not trying to define things to limit what people do. I'm just trying to give people like kind of like some points to start. And, you know, one of the things we talked about is how, you know, the heart mount is a fundamental, or the bottom mount, kind of the forward mount. I think another kind of fundamental, or another kind of thing to think about, just to get your brain excited, is the things we're doing, we have the loop open. But what Zammy was just talking about, and what I was just doing with the gyroscopic flop, we're actually going to put the yo-yo into the finger loop, like right at this point, which used to be terrifying. Like you kind of wanted to avoid, that. But now that yo-yos can handle it, basically what we're doing is pinch right above your slipknot, pinch and pull with the other string. And then once you're kind of locked in there, right? Like once you're in there, then you can do things like gyroscopic flop, or you know, what Zammy was just talking about, the pedals, which is super stylish. I mean, Mach 5 is also probably. And this used to be really tough with yo-yos, but now it's, you know, most yo-yos can handle the not being in there.
It's smooth.
Yeah.
You can do it smoothly now, and that's because of yo-yo tech evolving.
And just doing that at speed. Well, trying to do it at speed. That mount is still awkward, right? Like time consuming.
There we go. Boop. Pedal. Oh, it even had the turn.
Yeah. Everything I do has to have a gyroscopic flop, apparently. Let's talk about a few other kind of mounts, like just kind of like, for me, fundamentals. A lot of them do for me take place from here. So like, you know, I said I usually mount here. Well, something else I do quite often is push the yo-yo through this opening. And there's a couple ways that can happen. One is just sliding through, at which point, boop.
Yeah.
And right. So yeah, not that I'm like trying to teach that trick. I'm just trying to show that like a thing you can do is just go through there, and then all of a sudden you've got this new mount that opens up.
And I actually have a thing to say about that too.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Well, so that so if you're doing it with just the pocket, where it's just where the string is around your fingers and you have it open, I believe I had referred to that trick as slocket. I'm actually, right now, I'm going on my YouTube account. I do apologize. It's like I have a very bad memory.
And better than mine.
Thus, sometimes I can't remember my own tricks.
So let's just let's just assume that slacket is basically just going. I'm making a hole, and I'm just going through. And for me, the next thing I do.
Because if you notice, let's see here, slip black slocket. Yep. That's where you start getting into the more technical side of Mobius.
You could also catch it double, like just talk about being on the double string or whatever. There's like, you know, things from there. And then just another thing from here, because like I said, this is for me a very core part of side style Mobius. Another thing is I'll pinch, and I'll do kind of the same idea, except I'm going to go through.
Yes.
So basically I'm doing like a Lindy loop, but I'm going to go pinch and through that hoop. And now I am open up here. I don't remember what the hell I do from that. I have stuff. It's all muscle memory. Dude, that is just muscle memory. I could not teach that. And then that thing, no. But there's so much room for exploring that. And and then there's one more just from that thing. I just want to get to that kind of final one that I was thinking of. The final one from here is push down, right? So I'm going to push down, and I'm going to do a friction mount. Oops,
there we go.
Mount. And that's how I do kind of my idea of like the spirit bomb mount or whatever, the wrist mount. But yeah, this is just, I'm taking this, I'm pushing it down where it intersects, and then I'm just putting the string on there.
Oh, and there's your Mobius spirit bomb mount.
Yeah.
Wild, wild stuff. Yeah, that's where you definitely get into the more technical side, as well as a lot of the more intricate things when hand dominance involved, as well as front side and back side. Fun stuff.
So are there any like fundamental things that we haven't, I'm sure there's more things you would, I mean, I guess just to put this out there, you're never ending. The way I mount it, I think is pretty interesting. I don't know if it's unique or not, but basically I open, and so like on the throw. Yeah, so on the throw, like the whole goal, I think, with yo-yoing in general is to remove unnecessary motions. And so the whole goal for me was to get straight into your trick from a mount, which with practice I could do. But yeah, basically. And then once you're there, God, I love this move. Once you're there, you hop out, you mount again.
Go in, hop out the other side.
My fingers are always kind of rotating. Every
there
mount,
you go.
At speed, and the kind of closer you can keep it to the knot, the easier. When the knot starts getting moved away, it gets a little harder.
There you go. Yeah, and you can actually even add a more a vertical lift to it, so it looks like you're going like higher and higher.
Oh yeah.
There's a very weird effect with that trick.
Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. Literally exactly. And that type of trick, I've referred to them as infinitums. That's the term that I had used for that, where you're going from left-hand dominance to right-hand dominance in a repeated fashion.
Oh, I didn't even realize that's what I'm doing. I am now I'm left-handed.
There you go. Yeah, it's like the slip will move. As you see, it's like, there you go.
And on the I think kind of wrapping up here, like on the topic of like the slipknot moving, we talked at the beginning about how for me the knot should always be on the right side, what we call the R mount. If you do the left side, that just opens up new things. You're going to have a different style than Zammy and I. So right from the start, you're going to be kind of doing stuff unique. But one of the things for me is when I'm doing tricks is to start on the right side, start with the knot on this side close to my pinky, and end that same way. In two fingers, right? So always kind of start and end in two fingers. And there are some tricks that I do that if I were to stop here, it actually is the wrong for me side. So that was actually kind of inspiring because my tricks are usually pretty short. So like when I find something like that, usually I'd be like, okay, done. I'm like, no, I have to figure out how to change that knot. And I just did. Now if I stop, now it'll be. So like it's kind of fun that like if you have that goal of like always, and you don't have to, you could be, we're talking about like left hand or right hand dominance. You could have L side and R side dominance where it does, you know exactly where you are, and you could start a trick on either way or whatever. But yeah, for me, a goal for me for Mobius is always start and end on the R side because I get scared by change.
And that's actually the same for me as well. Although someday I wouldn't mind it where I could actually throw a proper left-handed throw and do Mobius left-handed, and then eventually be able to go back and forth like truly. But that's something down the road.
So I think that's it for this live stream. I just wanted to kind of talk about. I mean, one other thing I just want to leave people with is, if you are doing a single leg routine. You can do, all your tricks or whatever. You don't have to be doing Mobius the whole time. But if you want, you could then, boom, right? That's the thing I kind of want to impress on people is like, you don't have to like I'm a 4A player. I'm a 5A player. You could be like, you know, I do 1A and Mobius is just part of 1A for me, you know, like every now and then I just open this up. And some players actually do. I have seen some players, Jensen can do quite a few tricks where you don't even know it, but he's doing the whole trick in the Mobius mount, in the R hold. And at the end, you know, he'll like, you know, take it off or whatever, like just for the last thing. So like if you watch Jensen stuff, there's times where he's just doing his whole, like, I'm going to show you the badass thing I made up. Oh, and by the way, you know, I'm off this.
And he's so nonchalant about it too. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I did wanted to, however, interject about the idea of, you know, Mobius going into 1A going to Mobius, and that has to do with people that want to compete. And that's that any Mobius trick, if you do it on stage in the 1A division, you do not get points for it.
Whoa.
That is yes, that was something that had actually changed when they did the whole rechanging of the rules and creating the new Yo-Yo Federation, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that can be a topic for another day.
Okay. Well, yeah. Me personally, and I'm not much of a competitor, contest person, but me personally,
I just wanted to throw that in there for people that do compete, just to give them that heads up.
I have never been the sort of person who likes the numbering system. I like the names. I like to call it freehand, although counterweight works. I don't love calling it 5A. I don't love calling it 1A or 2A. So like when people are talking about like 0A or 6A, you know, that's not my cup of tea. But I think for other people, it is their cup of tea, and that's totally fine. And you brought up a reason why it would be. I mean, the whole reason 3A, which is just two-handed sleeping tricks instead of two-handed looping tricks, like I always thought like that should just be competing against each other. But I understand that, you know, the scoring would be different. So like that's why they have those numbers. I don't think that Mobius should be 6A personally, but I would love to see people doing it more. And if it takes getting its own division so that can happen, then, you know, fine. But that is an interesting thing that like the cards are against us already because we're doing something. Anybody who's doing something weird usually is going to be a little slower, a little more risky, you know, a little less high speed. So we're already at a disadvantage, but then literally, you know, no points for you.
Yep, that's what it says in the rules. That is what it says. Read through it. At least for the world yo-yo contest and national level. Don't know about like regional and states and local and stuff like that. But in the end, in my opinion, don't matter.
Does it specifically say Mobius?
Yeah, it's specifically, if I understand correctly, yes.
Cool. Well, I'm at least they know I exist and they know we exist. Even if they created rules specifically to like weed us out for some reason. Yeah, that's weird.
The only reason why they did that was to legitimize 1A more. That's
okay. So Zammy, you and I are going to talk, if you still have time, on another forum. And this week's podcast, or this month's podcast, is all going to be about Mobius and kind of talking about the history of it and all that stuff. But Zammy and I have never, that I recall, hung out and just been like, get on the same page about the names of the tricks. And man, you know,
never shoot the breeze.
Gotta call that something, because I do that all the time. You know, either here or you know, like I do it all the freaking time.
Mm-hmm.
I do need a name for it, because you know you got to start with the blah 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 and then blah blah blah. Anyway,
the blah 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 and the boo boo boos.
All right, I guess I haven't given people a chance to ask questions because you and I've been looking down. If anybody has any questions in the chat, you know, let us know. Otherwise, we're going to peace out. But you know, it is a live stream, so we should give our shout outs to It's Hasb and Joseph and Little Snow Globe. Instant XZZZ, and Alex Stam. So if anybody has any questions, hit us up, and otherwise we'll just kind of give it this like do 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 do. There
we go.
This one right here. This is like, I always feel like so scared. Yeah, there it goes. Boop, boop, boop. Uh-oh, that's why I'm scared. All right. No,
Yes, the woes of a Mobius player.
no questions. So we are going to peace out. Zammy, I'll see you on Skype. Thank you so much.